Hi everyone, I hope you are all well. So it's time to find out which books I'm going to be reading next. As you know, I bought all my books for this year right at the beginning of this year, and so these are the five from that pile that I just felt in my gut that I wanted to read next. So, and this is the order I'm going to be reading them. So the next book I'm going to be reading is Bone China by Laura Purcell. So I've not read any of Laura's books before. My sister, who's also called Laura, has read a few of her books, and she read, I think, one or two of her books last year, which I bought in my list. In my collection of books I bought at the beginning of this year, and she absolutely loved them. So she was like, "You've got to read them." So I'm giving one of these a go. So this one is Bone China, and the back of the book says, Morven House, Cornwall. Consumption has ravaged Louise Pincroft's family, leaving her and her father alone and heartbroken. But Dr. Pincroft has plans for a revolutionary experiment to relaunch his medical career. 40 years later, Hester Y arrives at Morven House to take up a position as a nurse in the new, partially paralysed and almost entirely mute Miss Pincroft. Hester has fled to Cornwall to try and escape her past, but she soon discovers that her new home may be just as dangerous as her last. Quite intrigued by that one. So I gather it's going to be to do with parallels of the past and present. I don't know, but the description kind of gave me a bit of a chill, so I'm like, let's give that one a go. So next read is Bone China. Then after that, it's The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. So this was a Costa Book Award winner 2018, and it says, at a party thrown by her parents, Evelyn Hardcastle will be killed again. She's been murdered hundreds of times, and each day Aidan Bishop is too late to save her. The only way to break this cycle is to identify Evelyn's killer, but every time the day begins again, Aidan wakes up in the body of a different guest, and someone is desperate to stop him ever escaping Blackheath. So I'm quite intrigued by that. Not read any of Stuart's books before. This was one which in the Facebook book club that I'm a member of, people were raving about. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it a go. So there we go. So that's the second one. Then the third one is The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. Obviously, you can tell by the way in which it's been put together, the cover, very, very much marketed like The Woman at the Window, which by A.J. Flynn, which I read last year and quite enjoyed. But the concept of this one, I just find it's something catching about it. And I just kept on coming back to it in my Amazon wish list, and it was only like £4. So I was like, oh, go for it. And it says, be careful who you let in. In a large house in London's fashionable Chelsea, a baby is awake in her cot. Well fed and cared for, she is happily waiting for someone to pick her up. In the kitchen lie 3 decomposing corpses. Close to them is a hastily scrawled note. They've been dead for several days. Who's been looking after the baby, and where did they go? So yeah, I haven't read any of Lisa's books. Actually, I think apart from the next one, I haven't read any of these authors before. So I don't know what to expect. So let's see what The Family Upstairs is like. Then the fourth one, last year I read a Minette Walters book, an historical fiction book, which I enjoyed, but I said I wanted to read some of her more modern crime singular book narratives, because that historical one was book 1 of 2. And so I decided to dig out the book that kind of, it's the book that always fills my mind when I hear her name, and that's The Skull's Bridle. The Skull's Bridle I know about because my mum read it and my sister read it when I was a teenager, and this image of a woman wearing a skull's bridle dead in a bath just fused itself to my mind, and I don't know anything else about the story other than that. So it's not like I'm going into this knowing what's going to happen. I have no frigging clue, but I just remember that image being in my head, and it just links as soon as I hear Minette Walters, I see that image in The Skull's Bridle. So the back of the book says, I wonder if I should have kept these diaries under lock and key. Jenny Spade has disturbed them again. What does she make, I wonder, of an old woman deformed by arthritis, stripping naked for a young man? The pills worry me more. 10 is such a round number to be missing. Mathilda Giuseppe's body was found nearly 2 days after she'd taken an overdose and slashed her wrist with a Stanley knife. But what shocked Dr. Sarah Blankly most was that Skull's Bridle, obscuring the dead woman's face, a metal contraption grotesquely adorned with a garland of nettles and daisies. What happened at Cedar House in those tortured hours before Mathilda's death. The police assume that the coroner will return a verdict as suicide. Only Dr. Blakeney, it seems, doubts the verdict until it's discovered that Mathilda's diaries have disappeared. So yeah, I'm quite intrigued to read The Skull's Bridle. It's something that I have linked in my mind to my past, to my teenage years, but I have no clue other than that image of her dead in the bath with Skull's Bridle on. I have no clue about this story whatsoever. So let's give it a go. And then the final book out of the 5, I decided to choose something just at random, and the at random was Queenie by Carty-Williams. Now this came out in early 2020 and it got a massive buzz. There's 2 copies of the paperback. There's this one that's in gold and there's one that's like a highlighter, 3 highlighter pink and highlighter orange, and I really didn't like the highlighter colour, so I went for the gold cover. But it doesn't mean that the content's any different, of course. Like one has like bonus material or something. It's not like that at all. So yeah, I just thought, you know what, when I bought it, it was kind of a bit of a random choice, but because it caused such a buzz, I think that's what caught my attention. And when I was looking for the pile of 5 for this, this stack of 5, I just chose this one at random. It was just kind of a gut. I knew I needed to read it. So the 5th one is Queenie, and the book says, meet Queenie, journalist, catastrophist, expressive, aggressive, loved, lonely, enough, a darkly comic and bitter, sorry, my words today, and bitingly submersive take on life, love, race and family. Queenie will have you nodding in recognition, crying in solidarity, and rooting for this unforgettable character every step of the way. So that's Queenie. Doesn't tell you much about what the actual plot is, apart from you're following Queenie, but I'm going to go with the flow and just see what happens. So those are the next 5 books I'll be reading. So in order, it will be Bone China, The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, The Family Upstairs, The Skull's Bridle, and Queenie. So yeah, I hope you enjoy my reviews of those in the coming future. And yes, I'll be back with my thoughts on Bone China as soon as I'm done. All right, guys. Bye.